Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we make some sense out of the nonsense that's all around. Usually add to that some that's created, some that I create. Listen, there's a lot of nonsense. We live in a culture, we live in a world where we are told that we need to promote ourselves, that you need to promote who you are and what you can do, and make sure that people know, and make sure that people see you, and make sure that people understand. And in my world, in the world of pastoral, right, that's always been the case. You always get these flyers of pastors who want to come and speak at your church, and revivalists who want to come speak at your church, and music groups that want to come speak at your church, and they're always sending you a biography, and they're sending you like, hey, here's where I've been, and here's what I've done, right? But the truth of the matter is, as a Christian, I hang up my right for self-promotion. And self-promotion goes against, right, the very idea of the kingdom of heaven, right? Jesus said, I don't do what I want to do. Right? I only do what the Father wants me to do. That's a huge problem. See, the kingdom of heaven is all about God, His will, His purpose, His plan for your life and the lives of the people around you. And so sometimes we look around and we're faced with the idea of, no, it's my purpose and my plan for my life. It's my life. I'm just letting God, right, be a little part of it. He can be there on Sunday mornings at 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, right? Or when I really need something, I need Him to bail me out of something. But for the most part, I'm asking that God just kind of stay out of the way. Stay out of the way and let me, right, go after my purpose, my plan. So as we start this week out, right, the number one concept is, right, whose plan, whose purpose are you going after? We live in this culture where we think that the government is out, right, to care about us. They exist to help us be successful. They exist to help us be, part of whatever it is the plan for us, right? And they're going to help us get there. I'm stumbling because my head is going in a million different directions, because I want to talk about this whole concept. But I think I'm going to wait and talk about it tomorrow night, because it's something that we've tried to implement at my church, and it just people have a hard time wrapping their head around it. We are so used to self-promotion that we forget God says, no, you're now all about me, not about you. See, you can't be all about you and all about God at the same time. One of you is got to be subservient. Jesus said you can't serve two masters. You can't do it. You will hate one and love the other, love one and hate the other. Like, you're going to have this problem. Right? So the problem is that when I'm out for my purpose and my plan, and I say to God, okay, I'm off to the beach today, and God says, no, you're not. Well, right there's a problem. So we get around that problem by saying, I'm just not going to ask God. Right? So I'm just going to the beach. God bless it. And then we'll talk to somebody at the beach and we'll say, oh, God is all about the beach. He helped me out. He must have wanted me to go to the beach because I talked to somebody. I mentioned church. It was great. I had a great opportunity. Do you know how many times God is credited with things that He hasn't done? Not every encounter that you have is a God thing. No, God, can He use it? Can He redeem it? All of those things, yeah, absolutely. But the truth is, you kind of got to ask God, was this a you thing or was this a me thing? Unless, of course, you already know that it was a you thing. And how much of that goes on at church? How much of what we're doing at church are we giving God the credit for, but it really isn't God at all, right? Again, this whole idea of self-promotion, right? Who's promoting you? Are you letting your Creator promote you? Which means you might end up doing some things you didn't know you could do. You might end up in some places you wouldn't rather be, because God knows how He created you and He's promoting you. And as you get into those places and those situations, you might find out things about yourself that you don't even know. Listen, you're not trying as a Christian to be successful in our world. you're trying to be successful in God's kingdom. And he says, you want to be first, you got to be last. You can't take earthly principles, put them into a godly kingdom and say, oh, yep, this is the way it works. And this is where you and I get in trouble. We're constantly taking earthly principles, putting them into a godly kingdom and saying, this must be what God wants. So we self-promote all the time. We make sure that everybody knows how good we are, how great we are, what we've accomplished in our past. Got a whole list of things. And by the way, I struggle with that probably more than anybody else, right? I always wanted to promote out there that I did this and this and this and this. I know how to do this because we did it. The truth is, everything goes better when God promotes. The best times in my life, the most successful times in my life, are when I was really saying no to God, and God saying, embrace this, do this, be this. I've got this for you. Go after this, right? I didn't seek it out. I didn't search for it. Didn't headhunt it, right? What I did was just allowed God, right place, right time, right moments. And God says, I'll promote you. Not going to be your time, your place. It's not going to be where you want to be. Let me end with this. I remember as a kid, right, when Christian music first really started coming out in the 80s. I know it was around in the 70s and 60s, but when bands really got big and artists really got big, you could go to pretty much any church and see a big name Christian artist in these little churches because they were all starting out that way, right? They were starting out being in the church where the people were. Now, you have a hard time going to a Christian concert in a church. Whether that's because that's not where the people are, whether that's because too many people want to come and we don't have enough room for them, whatever the case, right? You end up having it totally out of the church setting and in a totally different setting. Promoting themselves, going to Ticketmaster and all that stuff, making sure that you know and that they're coming, right? God doesn't want you to self-promote yourself. He knows how great you are. He also knows how flawed you are. He wants you to let him promote you. Doesn't mean that you're not going to send out flyers. Doesn't mean that you're not going to send out brochures about your ministry. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God will direct you to send the right brochure to the right ministry at the right time. And then he's going to accomplish what he wants to. A lot of people have spoken and sang in front of thousands of people and accomplished nothing because God wasn't in it. God promotes God. That's what he promotes. He doesn't promote you and I for our glory. He gives us an opportunity to be promoted to give him the glory. So, question tonight, who is promoting you? You or God? We'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense.